Hey guys, it's Melissa with Web of Creativity, and this video is the construction video for the Explosion box, the Alice in Wonderland version. So the paper collection I used is Echo Park's Alice in Wonderland. Alright, so I have kits and tutorials on my blog, www.webofcreativity.net. The links are below. So real quick, because I do have a preview video that shows everything, I'm just going to go over, I have mushrooms that my fiance and his dad made, which I painted the tops of, and more details about how all this works at the end of this video. So we got a door with wood grain paper that comes in the kit with Tim Holtz hitch fastener as the door handle, the door knob. We have a clock in the back, which is a graphic 45 clock, and then the card, which is a die. And then we got moss on the top, which is just the moss collection from Hobby Lobby. Also at the top you see that vial of paint and or potion to drink. There's the back. Alright, so let me open this guy up. Then we have our teacups, which is a die. In the kit you get a template to trace out and cut out. Don't know where my die went. It's alright, so the die is a Sizzix Big L by Brenda Walton. It's just a teacup die. Teacup 3D. So in this video I do show you how to put the cup together. But in the kits you get a template so you can trace everything out if you don't own the die. So then we have all these little bits, these dessert pieces that my friend made me. So we got some pies, some cakes with some hearts on them, and some chocolate chip cookies. And then those come in the kit as well. And then we got some doilies. And then I'll just show you a couple of pages. So each side is identical, and it starts off with just a pocket with a tag that opens up. And then each one also has a waterfall page. So just you pull the tab and it's the waterfall. And then you flip it up, and then we got a tag with the belly band that I need to add some more details on. And then a large pocket, which is the side wall, with a large tag for photos. So each one is the same. We got the waterfall page, the belly band with the tag, and then a large pocket. At the end of the video has shows all the pages so you can see how they're decorated, as well as the tutorial has pictures of all the pages too, so you can see how those are matted and decorated. So this video I'm going to show you how to put together the whole box. All the pages, some matting. I might have did a little editing so you don't have to watch me mat everything. Just show you that I have the pieces cut and assembled. And then I'll go over more details about the lid with the paint and the mushrooms and stuff. Alright, let's get started. Okay, we're going to work on the box itself. So we have 5 identical pieces of lightweight chipboard, and then 5 identical pieces of white cardstock. And this craft is just so you can see the white cardstock, because white on white, you can't see that very well. So I'm going to be working on some craft so you can see it better. So 4 of these pieces get matted the same way, and then the bottom piece gets matted differently. So we're going to go ahead and do the bottom piece and one of the side pieces so you can see what we're doing. So we're going to work on the bottom piece first. So it's just one piece of cardstock, one piece of lightweight chipboard. We're going to attach it to the center of this piece of paper. So I'm going to take my ruler and measure my center point. And right now I'm just removing my tape backing from my piece. Which sounds like a lot of pieces. I ran out of my 3/8 inch tape, so I doubled up with my 1/4 inch tape. Okay, so I'm going to do center, there we go. Then we're going to trim off the corners. So I'm going to get my cutting mat right here. Get my really dirty cutting tool, which is Martha Stewart cutting blade. And my ruler. I'm going to go up to 1/8 of an inch. So if you see on the Tim Holtz ruler, you have the first little dotted line is your 1/8 of an inch. And then this is your metal side. So you'll put your chipboard corner to 1/8 inch and cut. Does not have to be perfect. Just cut it at an angle. Alright, so if you're using 1/4 inch tape, I did around the edge of the chipboard and added tape, and then around the edge of the cardstock. Normally I wouldn't do the edge of the cardstock, but I'm using smaller tape because I'm out of the 3/8. So if you have 3/8 tape, just do the border, or a 1/2 inch tape will work too. So then you just take your bone folder, the one with the tip, and we're just going to line the edges, and this helps. This does a little bit of scoring, so it helps when you're folding. Not really necessary for lightweight chipboard. I just do it because that's what I do for a regular chipboard. And then I'm just rounding my paper over. And I'll go ahead and just do 2 sides first and then tuck in the corners. So we'll so I line it with, this is a different bone folder. It has a flatter end, and that way I can run across the edge to get it a good flat edge, and then run it across the top just to get it a good stick. And then I'm just going to push down on the corners just to tuck them in. It'll be a small tuck. With heavyweight or medium weight chipboard, it's a bigger tuck. But for this, it's just a little tuck. And then you do the other 2 sides. Alright, so this is your bottom piece. So all sides get wrapped So this is the inside of the bottom. This is the back side, which we will cover after we attach our sides. So now we need to do one side. So we're going to attach it to the center like we did the first one. Removing my tape backing. Now if you wanted to do this in medium weight chipboard, your lid that I have needs to be a little bit bigger because I did my lid based on lightweight chipboard. So you might need to add, because my lid is just a little bit bigger than this. So here's the lid, and then here is the box. So it's only a little bit bigger. But that's because this is thin. If you're using medium weight chipboard, make sure I got the right one. Your lid's going to be a little bit thicker, and you're going to want to make it a little bit longer to fit. Alright, now we're going to cut our 4 corners. So we're going to cut it the same way, 1/8 inch from the corner of the chipboard. So for all 3 sides, we're only going to tape 3 sides, and then we're going to attach 3 sides down. So again, running my bone folder along the edge. We're going to do the tuck in the corners again, so we're going to attach just one side first. I didn't roll. Roll. Okay. Attach. And then we're going to tuck in those corners and attach the other 2 sides. These corners get tucked in. So for this guy, this is our flap that's going to be attaching to our bottom piece. So we're going to want to add tape to just the flap. It's going to slide just like so. A 1/2 inch tape would be perfect for this. I forgot to do my tape order. So I have a bunch of 1/4 inch tape. Okay. So you want to do all your pieces like this. And then we're going to attach all 4 sides. And then cover the back, and then work on the lid. Alright. So I'm not going to show you how to do the other 3 sides. Just do those on your own, and I will be back in a minute. Alright, so the next step is to attach our sides to our base piece. So here's our base piece, and then our sides are taped with some tape. And then we're going to hold our side at a 90-degree angle and then attach our base flush to the side, even on both sides. So I just fold to make sure this is at a 90-degree angle. Remove my tape backing. And then again, hold at a 90-degree angle. Slide down and attach. So it is even. And then when it goes down, it is even as well. Okay. And we're just going to attach all of our pieces the same way. And then we will add some hinge pieces to the inside. Okay. Now we have the beginnings of our box. So it's looking good. Alright, I'm going to turn it over and just give my back pieces a good rub. I think what we're going to do first is attach a piece on the back. So we're going to take some brown paper and do that. Alright, then we're going to attach our piece in the middle, which this project is just a little bit bigger than my screen. But the piece in the middle is just going to be a piece of brown cardstock, and this is just for the bottom. So I already took off my tape. I'm just going to center it, even though it's very hard to see with this white cardstock. And there is our bottom piece. And then we need our hinges that are going to go around the sides. So for our hinges, cut out 4 pieces. Then we need to score in half. Oops, that was loud. And then we're going to fold all of them in half. We're going to cut all of them at an angle. Either way, you can either cut them now or tape them and cut them. It doesn't matter which one you do. It's preference. So you just cut out an angle. So you start from the very corner of the fold. So you start at the corner and then cut at an angle. And that's all you're doing. You're going to do that to all 4 pieces, and then we're going to add tape to, this would be considered the mountain because it goes up. So you're going to tape on both sides of the mountain piece, and then we're going to attach on our spine gap area. Okay. So do that to all of your pieces. Alright, now it's time to apply our hinges. So we have tape on both sides of the mountain side of the hinge. And we're going to remove the tape. We're going to stick it right in the middle. So I'm removing the tape backing. So what we're doing is just reinforcing that opening and covering the hinge, or the covering the gap. So it just needs to be worked on just a little bit. Alright, one down. So what I did is I just attached it to one side first and then laid it down. Just removing the tape backing. So just line up the corners. I think I'm going to line up doing two sides, opposite sides first. So I attach it on one side first and then fold it down. Okay. Alright, and one more. Okay. So what's left for the inside box is covering with patterned paper. So we're going to move on before we do that to the lid. Alright, time for the lid. So the lid has one base piece and four sides. And we're going to cover it in brown cardstock. So what we're going to first do is we're going to measure and mark. The measurements are in the tutorial. So we're going to measure and mark. And that's where the ruler is going to sit. So I can measure where this goes in the middle. So right now I'm just going to take off the tape backing. Okay, so then I'm going to put this in the middle. I'm going to just go ahead and flip it over, give it a good stick. Alright, the next we have, we're going to attach this to the side using my spacer, which, okay, just a piece of, I just have one piece of lightweight chipboard I'm going to use as my spacer, so I'm going to put it down flush against, I'm going to use that as the last one, flush against the edge, and then I'm going to attach this even to the top and bottom, so when you remove you have just that little bit of space. Alright. So again, I'm going to use this as a spacer. Hold it down. And hold my side piece flush against that edge so it's even top and bottom. I'm going to put, I only put tape around the edge. I'm going to use my ATG and put some tape in the middle. So again, I use this as my spacer. Last piece. Okay. Alright, that's the first part. We get all our pieces laid down, and then we're going to do some drawing and trimming. Alright, now all of them are attached. We are going to draw some lines. I have them coming out 5/8 of an inch. And you're just going to draw them on both sides. Now, if you don't like 5/8 of an inch, you can definitely do it at 1/2 an inch. But I just like the extra bit. And I drew on my desk. And I made it worse. Okay. Alright, then with drawing the lines, you made a square, and you're going to cut out all of the squares. You can do it with a craft knife or scissors, whichever you prefer. And then what you're going to do is you're going to trim from this corner up to the corner of the chipboard. So you're going to line it up. And you're going to do that to all of them. Okay. Now that we got trimmed, we're going to trim these corners. So we're going to get our cutting mat, our ruler, and craft knife. So we're going to line up our ruler back at that 1/8 inch mark to the corner of the chipboard corner on both corners. Cut at an angle. You can do 2 at a time. Next, we are going to fold our just the top pieces for now. It's a little bit harder to do. So we're going to add our tape first to all 4 pieces on our cardstock. Alright, so go around and add your tape to all 4 pieces. Now that they're all taped, we're going to go ahead and take our bone folder and give it a, holding this down and picking this up. We're just going to kind of like picking up the paper and rolling it. This is just a different version with your bone folder if you're unable to roll it on the edge. I'm going to go ahead and attach all of them. Okay, then use your bone folder and tuck in the corners. Okay, so our next step is half of our side inner corner tabs are going to be attached on the inside, and the other half are going to attach to the outside of the box. So we'll have 2 guys attached to the inside, and then 2 guys will attach to the outside. So if you want to fold these in to give it a good crease. So we're going to do 2 insides on 2 sides, and then our outside corners on 2 sides. So they'll all be the same, and then you're going to add your tape to all of them. So add tape on the inside of all the tabs. Alright, before we attach any of our sides, I want to cover the top lid. So I got me a piece of paper to attach. Removing the tape backing. It's a lot of tape. Really need to get my bigger size tape. Okay, so I'm gonna line it up the best we can. It don't have to be perfect because it's the underside of the lid that nobody ever looks at. Okay, looks good. Alright, so we're going to do 2 sides first. And we're going to put the tabs on the inside. Yeah. Prepping them first. Okay, now that they're prepped, make sure my corners stay tucked. Making sure my corners stay tucked. I got 2 sides done, and then we're going to do these on the outside. Okay, so we'll line them up. Now sometimes, even though you cut chipboard all the same size, sometimes it's not always the same size, so you just make sure that they line up and they're even. And if one's shorter than the other, you just pull it up a little bit and even it out the best you can. Check to see if any of my corners, I think they're all the same size. You have more of that problem when you have thicker chipboard. It doesn't look like I have any problems with this. So we want to make sure it's 90 degrees angle. Both of my corners are touched, and then attach. But first I'm going to go ahead and prep. I didn't prep these. We definitely want them prepped. Make it easier for us. Alright. So line them up and then attach. Okay. Take 2. Make sure they're 90-degree angle. There we go. So you want to make sure this part right there is level. And we're going to just attach all of them. So make sure we're at 90 degrees, that the 2 corners are meeting. I'm going to take the tape off of this one. It'll be a little more difficult once this is attached on this side. So again, I'm making sure it's lined up with the edge. Oops, I'm attached. Alright, lined up with the edge. Fold over. Lined up with the edge. Fold over. There we go. Looks good. Ooh, let's make sure it fits. Oops. Alright. Hold. Now this is still stiff. We haven't been playing with it. I've been working on the edges and getting things moving. Got a box. Oh! Alright, so So that's what's supposed to happen. So I might need to work on these just a little bit. Get them in the motion. Alright, so next, covering the insides of these right here. Alright, next we're going to cover the inside of the sides. Pretty simple. Just cut out a piece of cardstock. Gonna add an extra bit of tape, and then I hold it out and hit the back, make sure it fits, and then I raise it up to attach. That simple. Okay, do the other 3 sides. Okay, I got all the sides put in. Now we can move on. Next up, we're going to do pockets on the inside of each page. So we got our, I got all my pieces cut out. So we're going to, I already have it cut out and scored. So I have it scored on 3 sides, and it's just for a tab. So we're just going to fold on all 3 sides. You can't see this very well. There we go. On all 3 sides, and then we're going to taper the corner, which means cut at an angle from the corner. So you take it from the corner of the fold and cut at the angle. And then for the bottom corners, you do the same thing as if the other side isn't there. So you just cut it until you hit the corner, and then you cut it at an angle. So there is your corner, and then you cut at an angle. So there you go. And then you add your tape to your tabs. So taper in those corners made you these little tabs, which I already made 3 of these guys. So I already taped everything, and then we're gonna fold everything under and attach. So we're gonna attach not flush. If you attach it flush, it might, your side might not stand straight up, and we want that. So we're going to make sure that we have a little bit of a gap in between. Probably, where's my ruler? It's not even, it's 1/2 of an 1/8. So just a couple of hairs. So I'm completely out of my 3/8 inch tape, which is the tape I would have used. So I have to compromise, and I ordered some. So hopefully, maybe it'll get here before I finish the project, but probably not. I'm stuck doing a bunch of pieces of tape. Okay. So we're going to do our pocket. Again, not fully I have to get it closer so I can see. Am I still on? Okay. So we're going to want it even on both sides. There we go. Oh, let me turn it. So can you see the space I left? So I left a little bit of space right in there so it can sit up straight, so I don't have that extra paper holding this back. Okay. And do the rest. Alright, now I got all my pockets attached. Let's see. Oh, I'm going to try and zoom it in. See if you can see. You're still, there we go. You're no longer fuzzy. So I got all those spaces, and that's just so nothing catches when my walls go up. Okay. That's the first part. Now we need the start on the second layer. Alright, so the second layer is pretty easy. We have one base page, pretty simple, and then 4 sides. So the sides just get scored one little score line, and that is for your tab. So we fold on the tab, and then we taper. So we go from the corner, cut at an angle. Doesn't have to be perfect. Then add preferably 3/8 inch tape, and not a 1/4 inch and 1/8 inch, but you do what you have to do. Alright, so that is that, and then corner punch. So you can use any of your corner punches that you have. I, beside me, have my tab punch board from my previous project, so I'm just going to use that because I do like how the corner is. So, so again, that's the Memory Keeper's tab punch board. And you do that to all 4 of your sides. So we have our base page, and then we have all 4 of our sides. We want the tab to go like the 90-degree angle with our tape up, and we're going to slide it just like we made the box cover. Slide it underneath and attach. So all we're doing is making sure, one, that it's even on both sides. Even on both sides. And that's our first page. Alright. Okay. That is our second layer or first layer. It's our next layer. And then we're going to add tape to the back and attach. Alright, so I got my back side all taped up and ready to attach. Okay, so before I attach, I'm going to try and figure out the best way to attach it, since I can't see all the sides at the same time, and it's hard to hold these guys, and you can't really fold them. So I think I'm just going to attach it like that. I think that's a good idea. by holding the little wings out and guiding it to the right place. Okay. Found 1/2 inch tape. Not a lot. I have a little bit left, so I use my 1/2 inch tape on the back side. We want to make sure this guy gets stuck down, since there's going to be another layer on top of it, and it's going to hold our stuff in the middle. So this is my ATG Advanced Tape Glider. Just to add a little extra adhesive. Okay. Alright. Please don't mess up. So I'm guiding, trying to make sure that it's all lined up. And I'm looking at about 1/4 space between this page and the bottom. So I need it sized. It looks good. I can kind of tell in the camera. Alright, anybody else hold their breath when they attach something? That looks... It's not quite attached yet. I'm just making sure it looks good. Sorry, I shook my camera. It looks good. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna fold that. Just getting my pages to move freely. Okay, so again, hard to see because of the white, but you can see I have about 1/4 of an inch on all the sides. All right, it's coming together. It's coming together. It's going to look a lot better with paper on it. It looks kind of boring right now. Okay, moving on. Alright, so our next step is to attach our band on the back side of our flap here. So this is our band. So what we do is just cut out a piece of paper and then use your favorite edge punch. I like the scallop punch myself. And this is probably going to shake my camera. So just letting you know. And you're just going to punch it. Yeah, it's going to shake it too much. So punch both sides. Now when you do a punch, I do have measurements in the tutorial, but for this particular punch, takes out a good 1/4 inch, as you can see. Maybe a little bit more than a 1/4. So some punches just punch straight edge, and some punch a 1/4. If it's more than a 1/4, take that into consideration when you're cutting out your strips. If it's less and you want it to be a thicker strap, no problem, or just trim your strap down a little bit before you punch it. So we have our straps that we have, 1 per page, and then we have our tag. So the tag, again, I'm liking this corner punch on this tab board. So how you do, you don't do all corners, like you punch, rotate, because then your corners are going to look a little lopsided, because this isn't a completely, it's not an even punch. So one side is bigger than the other side. So you punch, you flip over, you punch, you flip, punch, flip. So you'll have the sides even with each other. So we have this short, 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 and then this side is the longer side. Okay, so that's, oh no, I dropped it. I'll find that in a minute. So for this guy, we're just going to score it to have a couple of tabs. So let me go ahead and score that real quick. And then we're going to fold on our tabs. Cut at an angle. So depending on how it's punched, your angle might be cut differently. Or if you want to not punch the last ½ inch, then you don't have to do that. You can stop early. So let me go ahead and you can't see that very well, can you? Get that taped. Then we're going to just, pretty simple, attach it to the center. So we're going to attach it to the center here, and then measure and attach it to the center there. So I know it's hard to see, so I'll try the best I can. So I'm going to get my ruler, of course, so I can find my middle spot. Removing the tape backing. Alright, so I'm going to, find my middle spot and attach. And then find my middle spot at the top. And I'm going to see if I can break that up just a little bit. I can't see very well. Okay, so I have it attached all the way at the top, all the way at the bottom. And got myself a tag. So I haven't decided whether I want to put, because there's plenty of room for a couple of tags. So I'll probably put a couple tags for this guy right here. Alright, that is done for, you do that for all 4 pages, and then we'll work on the front. Our next piece is our waterfall piece. So the waterfall is just, we're going to have one long sheet as our waterfall connector, and then these are our flaps. So with the sheet, you're going to score just how it is on the tutorial. There's 3, it is hard to see. Okay, there's 3 score lines, just trust me, on here. And then what you do is you fold the score lines all on the same direction. So you have all 3 folded in the same direction. And then you add your tape in each section. So once you got your tape on, we'll attach our flaps. But I want to punch everything first. So I'm going to use the tab board punch. And I'm punching the long piece, not the short piece, but the long piece. And the reason not the short piece, because it gets a strap that I still have to score. So it gets attached to the bottom, so you're not going to see it. So we want to go ahead and punch these. guys. Oh, I was in a hurry. Yeah. Messed it up. Slow down. Okay. So we take the very first one and we're going to attach it flush to the edge, just like so. So it's in, these are scored in 1/2" marks, so you're going to take the first 1/2" tape off first. Okay. Again, we're going to line it up flush with the edge, and of course flush to the sides because we want it all even. And there we go. So when you open it, we'll fold and we'll have that next section. Attach our second flap. Then attach our third flap. Now I'm attaching these upside down so I can see them. So all of this, and this is our last one. So all of this is upside down. So there we go. So I'm going to run my bone folder over each individual ones, giving it a good crease. Alright, so next we want to take one of our straps, and I'm just going to score to get a tab on both sides. Fold on our tabs. Taper the corner. I really need to get a large dark mat for my desk for when I do these, so this paper's not constantly moving around. Have to write me a note. Alright, so then we're going to add our tape. To the other side. So it's folded in. This part is what's going to get attached to the other side of the page. So that's where you're going to want your tape. I just was trying to get it, attach it to the wrong side. That's alright. Okay. Try that again. Let's get this taped. And then we're going to tape, we'll take the littlest flap and we're going to add tape to the flush to the bottom of that guy. And then we're going to add another strip of tape. So I'm going to use this as my guide. So I set it next to it so I know, because I'm taping the strap down to it. And there's a reason I'm not putting tape on the strap, because it's going to be short on both sides. So we're gonna, so we got 2 pieces of tape. So this guy will fit right on there. So we're gonna go ahead and take and attach. So what I want to do is hold my roller down. Let's get this. No. Let me find my center point. because this doesn't fit all the way on there. It does come out on both sides. And just checking it because this one gets flush to the edge as well. There we go, flush to that edge. But you can see it's a little, has that little extra to it. And that's because this is shorter than the page, and this strap is the same size as the page, so this can go wrap around the page. I'll show you what I mean. Let me grab. Okay. Let me grab this guy. I don't have my tag in here. My tag in there. Let me remove my tag. I don't want to attach it. So, clean my mess off a little bit. So it's hard to see because it's white. So I'm sorry about that. So this is going to get wrapped around. So we got these little tags, and they're going to get attached to the other side of the page. So before we attach, we need to make sure we have it where we want it. And just like the pocket, we don't want to attach it right up against the edge. Because when we pull this guy, we want to make sure it's going to flow and not hit the back of this. So I can't see it very well because it's white. So, okay, so I'm going to do it about an eighth of an inch away from the bottom. Yeah, about an eighth of an inch away from the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and attach one side first. I'm going to go ahead and take the tape off both sides. Why not? Okay, so we'll go ahead and kind of lifting the page so I can attach it. Line it up about an eighth of an inch. Wrapping the tabs over. So let's see if I can pick this up. So you see it's about an eighth of an inch. Oh, let me see if I can turn it. Yeah. So you see that's about an eighth of an inch. And on the back side, we got our tabs on both sides. And this is going to have pattern paper on it, so it's going to cover it. And then I love this element. If you've seen my Hidden Surprises mini album, you'll recognize it. Except the one in the mini album is a lot bigger because it's a bigger page. Okay. I like this element. So that's how you do it. Okay, that's one of them. And you just need to do the other three. Okay. Alright, so our next layer, we have one sheet scored twice on all sides. And then we have our pocket piece and our tag that goes in there. So let's move this guy out of the way. But look. Haha. Okay, sorry. How to do that. Get that out of the way. So again, we have this guy that has been scored. 2 scores on all sides. And then we're going to cut the corners. So it's hard to see, but when I scored it, We got sorry, it's hard to see because it's white. So it'll create 4 corners and it'll create a corner in all 4 corners. And that's the part that we're going to cut off. So you can use a craft knife or your scissors, whatever is easiest for you. So you'll just follow the score line that you have. And it doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to get trimmed again anyways. All right. Then we can add some tape. So with the score lines, we're going to fold and then fold again. And that has created our little tab piece that we're going to use to slide our pocket on. So we're going to add our tape. So on all, we'll fold all of them in the same direction. And then we'll add our tape. Well, no, we'll add our tape first. So we'll add our tape and then attach our piece. So I'm going to add all the tape to all the pieces. Alright, so I have all the pieces taped and folded. So it's pretty simple from here. You're just going to attach. And we're just going to attach all the sides. And then we're going to add tape to the back piece so we can attach it to our album, our box. Alright, now that all of our tabs are attached to each other and then I added tape, we're going to taper the corners of all these. So we're just going to cut at an angle up to the score line. Okay. So now I have all my tabs prepped and ready to go, and now we just need to attach it to our album. Okay, so it's going to be attached to the center, and it's going to have 1/4 border all the way around, just like this page has. So this guy's a little easier because you can see it. You can fold these down and get a better view of when you're attaching it. So I added my tape, and I'm going to add a little bit of ATG to this as well. bring this back, and I'm just eyeballing it the best I can. Oh, that looks good. I did already make one of my pockets. So I'm just going to check it. Oh yeah, perfect, perfect. Okay, so then I'm going to burnish. I definitely want this guy to stick and all the layers underneath. Okay, so then we're going to work on our pocket. Alright, so this we only have 2 pieces. This guy gets scored in the middle, and we have a tab at the end. So we're just going to fold on our tab, and we're going to trim or taper our corners, add tape to our tab. We're going to fold on our middle score line. And then attach it. So we'll take our tape off, tape backing off. And then close this by line, but make sure the flap is lined up with the bottom. And then attach. Okay, then this is our pocket. So it'll slide onto that tab that we made. And our tag, it just gets folded in half. And then you can use a corner punch. I'm using my tab punch board for the corner, but any corner punch will work. And I do have to press down on it harder because it's 2 layers. So we did fold that. There's our tag. Then our pocket slides around like that. And there we go. Looks good. So let's get these guys attached. Let me slide this over here. So they're just going to slide on to the tabs that we created. So what I need to do is add tape to both sides of these tabs. So when I add tape, I want to make sure it's closest to this edge, not to the scored edge. So again, we want the tape pretty much flush to the furthest edge and not close to this score edge. We want a sliver showing that doesn't have any tape. Alright, so I'm going to go tape my tabs down. Okay, so we're going to, I got all my tape done, and so we're going to slide, hopefully without getting it stuck, slide it all the way down before it gets stuck. And it is hard to see because it's white. But, so we take this little tab, we put this over it, and we just slide it on and get it stuck. So we're going to have it so it's a hair away from the score line, so this moves freely back and forth. If you get it right on the score line, the bottom is going to catch, most likely. It might not catch, but I don't like to attach it fully close to the bottom. So we just want about a hair or so, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see it because it's white. Okay, so it'll slide down, and there's like a little bit of a space, which you can't see. Maybe if I do an angle, you kind of see it. Okay, so, but you get the gist. So let me see if we can go ahead and take the tape off. Then we're going to slide it on. Oh yeah. That's our first guy. He's on. I got that little sliver. And then we'll have our tag. It's going to look good once the paper's on there. Right now it just looks awfully white. It does. It looks really white. Okay, I'll do one more and then I'll do the other two off camera. So first, I always check. Sometimes you cut them wrong, or just off just a bit. So we want to always make sure. Always check. Now, my normal is matte before I attach the pages, but this is not a normal book since it's an explosion album. So it might be fun matting. We'll see. Okay, so I'm going to slide this on the tab. Check for my sliver. Make sure I'm even on the back. There you go. Got another flap, and then I'll go ahead and put my tag. There we go. All right, 2 down. I'm going to go ahead and do the other 2 off camera.